Hello everyone! You probably know how vegetables are grown and animals are raised. But today we invite you to explore some lesser-known details of production, and take a look at some of the most unique farms in the world. Let's get it on! You might not guess it at first, but this is a farm. Here they grow mussels, a great source of dietary protein, rich in beneficial acids, vitamins, and minerals. To see the whole process, we need to take a look underwater. The farm looks unique. Ropes with weights and barriers are submerged in the water, creating a place for mussels to settle. Every 2 months the ropes are pulled out and cleaned to remove any debris and sands that may have been carried in by the current. After a year of regular care, the mussels are finally ready to be harvested. They are harvested from the ropes, washed and delivered directly to the restaurants where people can enjoy them. You started your day with a cup of coffee and milk and had a sandwich with cheese. Now let's take a look at how dairy products make their way onto store shelves. Dairy farming is one of the most popular types of agriculture, but it's surprising how little people know about it. Take for instance this scene that might leave many people scratching their heads. Why does a cow have a hole in its side? Well, that hole, called a cannula, serves farmers for research in a process called transformation. Basically, it's like organ donation. They extract rumen fluid from a healthy cow through the hole and transplant it into a sick one. Plus, thanks to this intervention, a farmer can observe how different feeds are digested in the cow's stomach. Good milk quality isn't just about what cows eat and how their stomachs function. Their mental state matters too. This farm goes all out to ensure the cows are content. The milking system here is pretty unique too. It's almost like an automated carousel, which not only maintains udder health, but also speeds up milking time and increases milk production. Farmers also say the cows feel calm and relaxed on this carousel. This amazing tiny village on the rock is actually an apiary. In one of China's wildlife reserves, they decided to set up conditions for bees that closely mimic their natural habitat. So beekeepers had to place hives vertically right on a cliff at an altitude of 1,200 meters above sea level. This might seem strange to many, as we're used to seeing apiaries in different places. But trust me, Chinese beekeepers know what they're doing, considering that half of the world's honey comes from China. Beekeepers have to go up the cliff like real rock climbers to reach the hives, while also facing thousands of bees. Yet, the effort is said to be worth it. Wild bee honey isn't just healthy, it reportedly tastes different from regular honey. It's more intense. Admit it, you're already curious to try it. Reminds you of a huge jellyfish, doesn't it? Surprisingly, it's a garden. Off the shores of Italy, you'll find these fascinating underwater biospheres made of plastic for growing different types of plants, vegetables, and flowers. Nemo's Garden is an experimental project that researches alternative gardening. This garden doesn't pollute the environment and is nearly self-sufficient. Here, plants are grown using hydroponics, which means that they are not planted in soil. Instead, they are placed in holes along a special tube running through the sphere. This setup allows for about 60 plants to be grown in the sphere. What's really cool is that the spheres are open to visitors during the summer, so anyone can come to see the unique garden for themselves. Scorpions have a reputation for being dangerous and venomous creatures that everyone wants to avoid. However, doctors once made a surprising discovery. Scorpion venom can fight many diseases, including cancer. Because of its properties, it's become very valuable, with 1 liter costing up to $10,000. It's no wonder some folks decided to turn this into a business and set up scorpion farms. This place is home to thousands of these arthropods that can churn out a few liters of poison annually. Funnily enough, they're not picky about where they live. They're perfectly content in egg cartons. You just need to feed them and watch their numbers. And of course, there's no room for fear. Only the bravest souls dare to work here. And if you thought the scorpions lived in a crowded place, take a look at these fish. They're raised in these special tanks. It's helping to revolutionize fish farming and make it more eco-friendly. By growing fish on a farm like this, we're cutting down on ocean catches and preserving the population. Over just a few months, this farm managed to grow and catch more than 10 tons of fish. Here, the creatures reside in aquariums where temperature and water purity are closely monitored. They are fed by an automated system that fills up and then distributes food to each aquarium. This farm isn't just about growing fish though. It's about making production as eco-friendly and automated as possible. Perhaps this is what all large-scale production should aim for. If I asked you to name one of the most common and successful businesses, you probably wouldn't think of frog farming. But in Asia, it's a thriving industry. A single female can lay up to 25,000 eggs at once. Afterwards, farmers have to transfer the eggs into separate containers. Taking care of the larvae is quite hard. You have to keep things clean, keep sick animals away, and give them regular rinses. If you follow all of these rules and maintain water cleanliness and temperature, soon enough the container will look like this. Many people might hesitate to try this kind of farming, but it's actually a lucrative field worth billions of dollars. Unlike frog farming, sheep farming is a more common type of agriculture. Sheep are raised for their meat, wool, and milk. These ruminant animals can be bred in various climates, but what they definitely need is space. Sheep need to roam and graze, so a farm should be located near spacious fields. Some farmers release the animals to graze under the watchful eye of specially trained dogs, while others build pens where sheep can roam peacefully and stay safe. Besides the regular buildings, each farmer specials stations for shearing. Sheep aren't big fans of this process, so it's best left to the professionals who know how to handle them properly. But it's all worth it thanks to these two. Someone will soon have cozy clothes. Snails have many useful qualities. Their meat is packed with essential vitamins and nutrients, and snail slime is commonly used in skincare products. However, on this farm, snails are not bred for that purpose. Here they produce white roe. White roe are the edible eggs of snails. According to the farmers, it's amazingly nutritious and low-calorie. The snails live in great conditions, far from cities and industrial zones. Farmers create gardens with plants that snails enjoy eating. The steep price of white roe comes from more than just the care for the snails, though. It's also because each snail produces an average of only 5 grams of eggs, which is 3 grams lighter than a 1-pound coin. Hand-picking eggs that are only 3 millimeters each takes a lot of effort. Imagine how much work goes into filling even a small jar of this delicacy. It's gotta be the loudest farm around because this place is home to thousands of ducks. Duck farming's quite the booming business, since ducks provide meat, eggs and feathers, all of which sell really well. Asian countries in particular have a strong appetite for duck meat, which explains why these large-scale farms thrive there. Here, ducks are given nearly complete freedom. They simply roam wherever they please. Sometimes they're even allowed outside the farm boundaries to give them an even greater sense of freedom. The farm has special rice fields just for them to munch on. In this setup, ducks feel good and can lay around 200 eggs per year each. When you look at the farmer's population, think about the total egg count they contribute. Pretty amazing, don't you think? It's widely agreed that one of the most beautiful forms of farming is flower cultivation. On such farms, workers still have to put in hard work, but during breaks, they can enjoy the sight of numerous blooms. Within this industry, tulip cultivation holds a special place. These flowers are incredibly popular worldwide, with millions of them being bought every year. For instance, this farm in the Netherlands produces around 50 million annually. Lights. It all starts with gathering old bulbs. They're dug up, then dried and cleaned. After that, they're stored at a specific temperature for a few weeks. Only then can they be planted. Tulips can be quite picky flowers. They won't thrive in soil where certain other plants have already grown, and they can't stay in one spot for more than 5 years. That's why farmers have to switch between planting them indoors and outdoors. Now you'll know the journey a beautiful flower takes before it reaches the store, and how much effort it took to grow it. Seeing this would be a real eye-opener for those with an apple tree nearby. Most of us are used to hand-picking our fruits, but on some big farms where apples are grown in huge quantities, they've been using machines like these for quite some time now. This unique robot is a real pro at its job. Using cameras and sensors, it spots ripe apples where even a human might miss them. And thanks to its unique vacuum picking tech, it can pluck fruits without any bruises or damage. Just think about it. Apples still remain the most consumed fruit in the world, and the apple industry alone is valued at $79 billion. There probably aren't enough people willing to do the hard work of harvesting all of those apples, so it's a good thing we have such hard-working robots on farms now. You've likely spotted crickets outdoors before. They're pretty much everywhere in nature. Surprisingly, there's such a high demand for them that there are farms solely dedicated to raising them. Crickets are bred for food in certain Asian countries, where they're highly prized as a protein source. They're also used as fishing baits and as feed for animals. This farm's quite a sight to behold, but what's even more astonishing is how seriously they take everything here. They're raising not just one, but several species of crickets of various sizes. They ship your order in a tube specially designed for transporting insects. But if you're thinking of buying a couple of packs, be careful. The crickets are sent alive. People with trypophobia might hesitate to visit this farm, but they might change their minds once they learn what's grown here. This unusual place is a vineyard on one of the Canary Islands. Surprisingly, the grapes have thrived really well in the volcanic soil. Once upon a time, there was an eruption at this spot, which altered the landscape and the ground structure. While the volcano has long been dormant, the soil enriched with volcanic ash has become perfect for growing grapes. Each vine is nestled in its own pocket of warm earth, with small rocky formations providing protection from the chilly winds. It's really unique, isn't it? I mean, how many wineries do you know that make wine from grapes grown in soil near a volcano? Even if you're not a big wine person, you'd probably be curious to try a sip of something with such an interesting origin. Despite common misconceptions, jellyfish are not some useless and dangerous creatures. They can be quite beneficial to humans and the environment. Their growing populations are not harmful at all, and some people have even started farming these marine animals. For instance, a research institute in Germany has initiated a project solely dedicated to exploring the positive impacts of such farming practices. They've already found out that jellyfish are capable of filtering microplastics in the ocean, and they can also be used as fertilizers or fish feed. So, next time you spot a bunch of jellyfish in the water, don't get mad at them. These guys are doing some serious work. Isn't it just breathtaking? This artwork by a Danish artist is located in one of Germany's parks. Inside a 15-meter tunnel, you can find 2,160 pots filled with different plants. The structure slowly rotates, mixing the scents of the flowers and creating a unique fragrance. When you're in such a place, surrounded by loads of beautiful, sweet-smelling flowers, it feels like you're transported to another universe. Unfortunately, the plants don't bloom all year round, so visitors can only stroll through this special tunnel from spring to fall. And based on the fact that the installation has been going on for several years now, there seems to be no shortage of people wanting to experience the flower tunnel. It's well known that farming and agriculture need specific favorable conditions, and Antarctica's climate is hardly suitable for such activities. Nevertheless, one company took this as a challenge and conducted an experiment. They built a container where they recreated greenhouse conditions and positioned it near a research station in Antarctica. In 5 years, about a ton of greens and vegetables were grown inside the container, feeding the station's staff. The main goal of the experiment was to see if it's possible to grow anything in extreme conditions. And the experiment was a success, so the next step is to advance agriculture in space. Perhaps one day we'll see a greenhouse with cucumbers on Mars. This isn't your typical South American scenery. It's actually a whole cactus farm. Some types of these plants are not only edible but also really tasty. Just consider, in Mexico, one person consumes over 6 kilos of them per year. They're eaten raw, added to dishes during cooking, and you can even make drinks out of them. Also, cacti are a tasty treat for cows. Yeah, farmers mix these prickly plants into their feed and the cows love it. Growing cacti isn't too demanding. You just need a cutting which you lay on the ground. Eventually it sprouts roots and turns into a big plant. Plus they thrive in dry conditions where cacti feel right at home. However, farms still use drones for occasional watering. Did you know that cacti are a major agricultural crop in South America and parts of North America? In Mexico alone, cactus fields span over 3 million hectares. Have you ever seen anything like this? It's a fish farm right in the middle of the sea. This unusual structure is a collaboration between Norway and China. This vessel is like a barge that can hold over 10,000 tons of salmon. Part of this big setup sits underwater where the fish are kept. This unique project has helped tackle many challenges, including using areas for fish farming that were once thought unsuitable. For instance, in this region of Norway, there were challenges in developing aquaculture, but the floating farm changed everything. I wonder how the project's creators came up with such an idea. Eel farming is widespread because they're a popular food choice. Let's take a peek at one of these farms. Farmers start by purchasing wild eel fry, which eventually grows to a certain size. They're kept in special tanks with the water temperature maintained between 23 to 28 degrees Celsius. Eels prefer clean water, so it's constantly circulated in the tanks. Farmers mention that eels are quite picky and struggle to adjust to artificial feed, undergoing a lengthy adaptation process to this diet. At the end of the day, it pays off, because the eel breeding market is extremely popular. The US alone imports 5,000 tons of eels every year. Traditional farming has its advantages, but it also comes with drawbacks. It often requires large land areas, and the methods used can harm the environment. In this company, they found a fantastic eco-friendly alternative. They grow plants indoors on vertical beds. Employees say that this approach saves millions of liters of water and yields 350 times more green per hectare. With indoor cultivation, they can harvest all year round, and the best part is they don't need to use pesticides. These plants are completely organic, and you don't even need to wash them after you buy them. This kind of farming feels like it's come straight from the future. It's hopeful to think that someday humanity might fully transition to this type of cultivation. Ever struggled with planting and then digging up potatoes? Here's an alternative: growing them without soil. You simply place potato shoots in a sealed container or greenhouse where they are watered with a nutrient solution. The shoots are anchored at the top so their roots hang freely in the air. This method significantly reduces its impact on the environment. Plus, the aeroponic growing process requires no pesticides or other potentially harmful substances. The veggies turn out as natural as they could get. And best of all, this method can be used on both large farms and small-scale production. Anyone can try growing potatoes this way at home. Sea algae has numerous health benefits, which explains why it's widely consumed. This has led to the emergence of entire underwater farms dedicated to cultivating algae. Here in the North Sea, over an acre is devoted specifically to this purpose. They use special nets underwater. As the algae grow, an autonomous robot monitors the water quality and the growth process. Later on, each square meter of the net will yield more than 10 pounds of harvest. Oh, and they use special equipment for harvesting too. But even with this industrial scale and fancy tech, growing algae still does wonders for water quality and fish populations. So, it seems like this kind of farming only brings benefits. Have you ever tried coffee brewed from coffee cherries? Well, there's a company in Thailand where elephants actually help in the production process. It's been around for quite some time. Here, they select the finest coffee cherries to treat elephants. They mix the berries with the animal's favorite food to ensure that they enjoy their meals to the fullest. After the snack, it takes anywhere from 12 to 72 hours. Then the digested material is manually gathered and dried in the open air. Finally, all that's left is to roast the beans and pack them up. What you end up with is an unbelievably delicious coffee, boasting notes of cherry, spices, and chocolates. It's a one-of-a-kind flavor experience that wouldn't be possible without the contribution of these remarkable farm workers.
cold.